Good evening, everyone. My name is Hinisha Malone, and I am the Vice President of the West Garfield Park Youth Council. And we believe that we are the solution to the issues in our community. Our theme is Nothing With Us, Without Us. The West Garfield Park Youth Council is sponsored by Fathers Who Care, which is a nonprofit organization located on the west side of Chicago within the West Garfield Park community. Again, everyone, my name is Hinisha Malone, and I am the Vice President of the West Garfield Park Youth Council. The West Garfield Park Youth Council is comprised of young people from our community whose focus and concern is youth leadership within our community to promote illegal substance use and senseless violence. We invite people from all over, especially young people, to come in and see what we are all about. Our shows will be scheduled every Thursday at 7 p.m. Again, that is every Thursday at 7 p.m. We would also love for you to view us online at www.cantv.org/live. Again, that website is www.cantv.org/live. Well, everyone, I would love to introduce my guest for today. This is Steveon Drisdell, and he is the Youth Senior Program Officer for Metropolitan Peace Initiatives. Would you like to introduce yourself?
Good evening, everyone. It's great to be here, and thank you so much for having me.
Of course. So thank you again for being our guest on tonight's show. Again, everyone, my name is Hinisha Malone, and I am the Vice President of the West Garfield Park Youth Council. You are watching a live interactive call-in television program brought to you by CanTV 21. During the next 25 minutes, we are going to discuss what is the state of violence and public safety in the city of Chicago. And now I have a few questions for you. So who are you, and what is your purpose for existing?
So, again, my name is Steveon Drisdell. I am the Senior Program Officer with Metropolitan Peace Initiative. And so that's who I am. My story, being raised by a single family home, I realized my mom raising me and my sister, it took a lot of work. And, growing up and just watching her work effortlessly with no complaints and getting the work done, I realized that she was a servant, right? And then I realized, I want to be like my mom. And I had to learn that in order to be a leader, I have to be a servant. So the leader role is a servant's role. So I am a servant to my people and community.
Yeah, I love that. I know people talk about being a leader, but it's you can't really just jump into being a leader. You have to know what it's like and go through certain things so that you could gain the skills of a leader. Because it's if you never have any hardships or any challenges, it's you don't really learn any lessons from that to try to pour into somebody else or to try to bring yourself up. So you have to go through something, like you said, be a servant to prosper out of that and then become a leader for somebody else.
Absolutely.
So what made you go into the field of program managing in nonprofits?
So my background is pretty unique in the sense that I've worked in the area of not-for-profit, for-profit, private businesses, things of that sort. And I realized it was a lot of fun doing those things. I used to run a bar too, and that was a lot of fun. But I was I didn't feel like I was accomplishing anything. Not to say it wasn't fun to do and it paid well, but I didn't see my purpose in that. And then, like I stated before, I realized that the leader role is the servant role, and I was put in a position to help my community, right? A lot of the times, folks like me don't make it out of our community according to statistics because of everything that goes on in our community. So I'm thankful and blessed to be here. So I want to make sure that not only do I better myself, but everything I've learned I can take back to my community. And I realized that working in the not-for-profit world allowed me to work directly with the folks who are directly impacted by, heinous crimes, things of that sort. And working with MPI has allowed me to service that population of folks across the city of Chicago. Granted, I oversee the west side. My colleagues and organization oversees the greater Chicagoland area.
Okay. Overseas?
Not overseas overseas, but overseas in terms of collaboration. So they work with a various amount of not-for-profits around the city of Chicago, whether the north side, west, east, or south.
Right. So what's the difference between, what is a nonprofit organization for someone who didn't know?
A not-for-profit organization is an organization that basically all of their monies come from funders, right?
Okay.
When you think of for-profit organizations. Those organizations have a lot of private dollars, private funders, whereas not-for-profits come from public dollars.
Okay. Okay. That
So
makes sense.
city, state, federal, not-for-profit, yeah.
Okay. So, what is your purpose and mission on the west side of Chicago?
To make the next generation better than me, right? Like you and I were talking earlier, living life is kind of like driving a car when you get to a certain age. And you drive a car not for yourself. You drive a car for the people in front of you and the people behind you. So what I do is not for me, it's for the people who are going to come after me. So I try to lay a solid foundation so people like you, you know, the younger generation can take the baton and run with it. But, you know, again, just being a servant and making sure that I'm being utilized, right? I feel like I have a lot to offer, and coming from the West Side, being able to go back to the West Side to help folks, I'm definitely proud to be able to do that.
Yeah. So what do you feel the biggest issue our communities are facing right now is?
As it pertains to the West Side, well, I'll just say as it pertains to the city, I think it is poverty. I think folks not having the means to make ends meet has been a huge problem. Financial burdens, you know, not being able to make a decent living, and so that leads folks to looking for other ways to make money. So poverty.
I talk about that all the time because I know I see, like, it's like sometimes like it'll snow outside. I remember it used to be like a snowstorm outside, and I always think like, where are the people who be like under the viaducts and stuff like that? Like, where are they right now? Like, is they just snowed up like in the snow too? And it's like, if so, like that's super inhumane. Sometimes I feel like we should try to like advocate for people to like make more money or like focus on like the bills that's being passed to say like, okay, we gonna make housing for these people who don't have it, because like these people outside, they starving, don't have no clothes, don't have shoes, or if they do have shoes, they be like too little, like they don't have nowhere to go. And it's like, Chicago is a very resourceful city, and I feel like we should have stuff put in place for like people to be like, okay, I have somewhere to go if it's raining or if it's snowing. But if like they have nowhere to go, then these people are just like dying off, and it's like, what's the point in that if we want people to live and we want people to like see the next day? But it's like we're not really promoting that, especially with like the minimum wage and all that stuff, and the way rent is going. Of course, it's like people can't really like they can't really balance that, because like I don't even make enough to cover rent in a month, and then when you buy an apartment, it's like, oh, you have to make 3 times that. So it's kind of hard for people to try to like pick themselves up when it's like like the people's kicking them down.
And you know, again, homelessness is not just a Chicago issue. I think it's an American issue.
Yeah, it is.
But I will say that I think we're working toward a solution to it. We've come a long way from where we were, I'd say 10, 20 years ago. So it's always going to be a work in progress, right? It takes a village to raise a child, and America is our village, and we're the children of that village. So we have to make sure that we're taking care of each other.
Right. So, I learned about that too in like a law class. We was learning about this Bring Chicago Home ordinance. It's basically like a housing law that they trying to pass, and also a law that has like, it creates housing for people who deal with different type of like domestic abuse or anything like that. If they want to like run away from home and they don't really feel safe where they are, they'll give them housing. So it's stuff in the process of like trying to get everybody off of their feet and like trying to get them into homes. But I feel like you said, us as the children of America, we have to also focus and look at these bills and like vote on them, because if we don't know what's going on and we don't know what to vote for, then they won't get passed, and then we still send up like, why do people still homeless? But it's like, it's up to us also to like pay attention to this stuff and vote for these things, because it's like, if we don't vote for it, then how is there going to be any change? We can't just talk about it. We got to, pay attention to what they got going on. And if we want to make a bill and like introduce it to like our state representatives, then we can. Of course. And they can like make one for us. But I don't feel like a lot of people know that. So it just be a lot of issues going on. People just be sitting around like talking about it instead of like, going after it, because they don't know that they can do that.
Well, you have the platform and the voice, so you are one of those folks that I believe can bring about change. So
Thank you.
Keep it up.
Thanks. So what do you think our community lacks? Sorry.
I'll say this. We have the tools for the job. I think it's the application, right? Folks need to be taught how to do certain things. Not everybody was able to go to Catholic and private schools.
Exactly.
You know, some people don't have that much education, but it's important for those who were able to go and get the education to come back to their communities and teach them.
Exactly.
Everything that I've obtained over the years, I didn't get by myself. I had to take the risk and seek out the knowledge and learn those things. But again, not everybody will have that willpower in them to go and do it. So we have to help them, right? It's okay to help people, you know. So.
Support them and stuff like that. I do feel like the youth, we kind of are like a little misguided in a way, because it's like sometimes it's like people will tell us stuff, like the older generation, they'll tell us stuff, but we just be like super rebellious and like don't really want to listen. And I feel like that comes from somewhere. Like we wasn't born like this. It was something that was like happening around us. So I feel like the youth is kind of like, we lacking knowledge, or we lacking like guidance and stuff like that, because it's like, if we were to know like, okay, we know that this is bad and we know that this is bad, or it's like telling them why, because like if you tell the youth don't do that, it's bad for you, it just leave them curious, like why they talking about it like that, like I want to go try it. Just like with substance abuse, they hear about it from their friends, they hear that it's good, but the parents tell them it's bad. They don't know what to do. So I feel like if we actually like, well, not we, because I'm youth, but if they actually like, if they educate the youth and tell them like, okay, this is what this is, I'm not gonna try to push you away from it, but I want to educate you on what it is, instead of just trying to like not give them anything. So like letting them know what stuff is, basically telling them like what's right and wrong, not letting them disrespect people because they not their parents. I feel like students, I feel like youth now do that a lot, like, oh, you're not my mama, you can't tell me what to do. And I feel like that's kind of like pushing us backwards, because it's like the generation before, like my grandma generation, my mom's generation, like they had to listen to their adults, and like the generation now, it's like we don't, and it's like it's kind of like it's gonna take a toll on us, because it's like nobody will feel like they could talk to us or communicate with us, or we won't be a part of conversations, because like, oh, they rude and they disrespectful. But it's the guidance that's around them, and if we don't have the guidance, then how will we know? You know?
Yeah. And so to your point, I think it's important to understand that you guys are in the technological revolution. When I was younger, I didn't have a lot of outside influences as it pertained to technology. Realistically, I didn't get a cell phone till almost my senior year in high school.
Really?
Right. Where you're like, yo, I grew up with a tablet and a cell phone. Those things are luxury. So again, being younger and having lesser outside influences, there was nobody else to listen to but the parents in the household, right? Now, like you just said, you guys being a younger generation, having a lot more access to things like technology. You know, you got cell phones, you got tablets. Look, when I was this age, I didn't have a TV show.
Really?
No. Like, this was something that wasn't even thought of.
Like, there was no this.
There was no.
You saying, oh, you didn't have like TV shows that you grew up watching?
Oh no, I watched TV. I was in trouble a lot, so I didn't spend a lot of time watching TV. I spent a lot of time writing and reading.
Really? That's good though.
It's helped me now. But when I was younger, I didn't get to hang outside and stuff. I was inside writing. But I'm thankful for those opportunities. But to be honest, I would have loved to come up in your era, because like I said, I had so many ideas, and being that young and not seeing them, I didn't know that they were possible.
Right.
So, you know, you guys are in the best stages of your life in terms of being able to do what it is that you want to. You guys truly can bring about change. You know, it's just, again, things are misguided because of outside influences, but it's our job for the folks who are focused and disciplined to help those people get back on track. But it's going to take a village.
Yep. So how much community involvement is needed to reduce crime in our neighborhoods?
If you pay taxes, it's your responsibility.
Yeah. And that's everybody.
Right? I can't just sit here and say, well, it's your job to get it done, and you say it's mine. No, it's our job.
Exactly.
Teamwork makes the dream work. I think that's what your grandfather
my granddad always say that. He got shirts like that.
It is true. You know, in our monthly Westside Stakeholders meeting, he starts that off. Teamwork makes the dream work, and that's so true. So how do we how much community involvement is needed to reduce crime in neighborhoods. 100% community involvement.
Right.
You know, you live on a block, you're invested in that block. So it's your responsibility to develop that block club.
Yeah.
And make sure that the grass is cut and make sure trash is picked up and things
Yeah.
of that sort. So the responsibility is everybody's.
Yeah. I feel like we kind of lost that piece of like community involvement, especially like with neighborhoods, because it's like when I was talking about this before, I lived on Pulaski and Van Buren, and like that I lived there for like a whole year, and I didn't know nobody that lived on my block. Like I didn't know my neighbors. I didn't know the people who lived across the street from me. I didn't even know the people who lived on like the next blocks. Like, and I feel like that's kind of like, I don't want to really say it's my fault, but it is my fault because it's like I could have took the time to go out and try to like see who my neighbors are, to try to have like some type of relationship with them. And it's like we don't really talk to each other like that no more. And I also feel like that is because of like social media and like being online all the time. It's like it kind of takes you away from like real life and like being able to like talk to people. Like when you see them, you probably get nervous. Like I know that now, like I get kind of like, I used to get like kind of anxious trying to talk to people in real life because it was just awkward. I was just so used to like see them in real life, but then text them on the phone because it's easier.
Right.
And it's like, I don't know, I just like to text now that I've only had my phone during like COVID.
Yeah.
Those I only had a phone and a computer and an iPad, and that's all I had. And it's like I had to talk to people through that all the time. So then like we got pushed back into the real world, and it was like kind of weird.
Right.
So like I didn't really know how to communicate with people no more. So I think we gotta just get back into like communicating with one another so that we can know how we can like impact our communities together, talk about like what issues we want to go after, like what we want to face right now. Okay, we want to go into gun violence. Okay, then let's see what we can do. Let's see what we can talk to our state reps about and stuff like that. So I think we just got to like start back communicating with each other.
I think very, very true. Interpersonal communication is key. It's great to talk to somebody via email. It's great to talk to somebody via Zoom or Microsoft Teams. But what we're doing right now, I agree with you, is what we need to get back to. You can't understand emotion through a text.
Exactly.
Right?
Oh, yes, that is so true.
You can misunderstand and misinterpret things through text. So it's important that let text be a secondary, but let interpersonal communication be a primary so that the message is clear the first time around and you're not shuffling trying to clean up something because somebody took a text a certain way.
Yeah, I understand that because it's like sometimes I get text messages from some of my friends, or I'll send them a text message, and like me or them would be like, why are you mad? They be like, I'm not mad.
Right.
And they be like, but the text look like that. But it's like a text don't have a tone, so it's like you have to take this and you have to be like, okay, well, like, are you okay? Like what did you mean by that? Instead of like trying to just go and say like you mad. So it's like when it's like a text don't have a tone, but us as people, like as humans, we think or we like see stuff like emotionally, like, oh, like they mad at me, they mad about something. Look how they said it, look what words they use. So I feel like interpersonal communication is like the most important. I feel like that should be, like you said, it should be like the primary source of communication because it's good to know like what somebody mean when they saying it, so you can know like the first time instead of interpreting it on your own and then acting on assumptions instead of on facts.
Of course. Again, you know, us sitting here talking right now, we understand what the show is. Now, since we've talked, we've set the foundation, right? The interpersonalness. And then after that, if we just need to fine-tune things, that can be done through a text, that can be done through an email. But the initial spark has to be interpersonal if it's something that you wanted to invest and grow in.
Right. So why is the work you do so important?
Because I don't know if it sounds cliche, I want to make America a better place. But it's true, though. I live in Austin neighborhood right now. I do this work because I want Austin to be the best community in Chicago, right? I'm very competitive. So I want Austin, of the 77 communities in Chicago, I want Austin to be number one. And Austin is the largest community in Chicago.
Really?
So, yes.
Austin is like, it's from like North Avenue to Roosevelt, right?
It looks like a little city in a city when you look at it on the map.
I'm gonna look at that. I'm gonna look at Austin on the map and see what it look like.
So, you know, that's why the work is important. And I just want to see the city flourish.
Yeah.
I want to see my neighborhood flourish. I want to see the people involved in my neighborhood flourish,
Yeah.
the businesses, the people walking there, the people that
Yes.
live there, the people that work there, you know, walk the dogs, kids to school. I just want it to be
Yeah.
a safe and enjoyable place.
Yeah, I also want to like see people like go on jogs. Like I never really see when I lived in Austin. I never seen people like go for a run. Like I've never seen somebody just jogging in the community or like running, walking a dog or something like that. And it's like when I moved to like no, when I just went to the beach yesterday, North Avenue Beach.
Okay.
So it's like all downtown, all people do is running their dogs, running by themselves. They just running, women by themselves, men by themselves, everybody just running and stuff like that. And it's just like, oh, like I never. It's like when you go like 20 minutes down, everybody running, 20 minutes the other way, 20 minutes west. Now it's like the whole like the city is deserted, or you got like these cliques that's clicking up and stuff like that.
Yeah.
So it's like that's also why I want the community to change too, because it's like I want people to feel like they could step outside and they could actually go and run, because people so terrified of what may happen next that they just keep themselves like shut in the house, or it's like they always ready to like leave Chicago. We don't want it to be where people, oh, I can't wait to move away from Chicago, not because of what's going on, but probably because they want to just grow and like go and see something else.
Yeah.
But we don't want it to be, oh, I want to leave Chicago because it's dangerous and it's bad and it's not where I want to be.
Yeah.
So I agree with you on that also. So, is there any voice of wisdom that you would like to give to the viewers?
I would say, you know, we have 2 ears and 1 mouth for a reason. So I would say in life, make sure that you're listening twice as hard than you're talking.
I agree with that. My grandma used to tell me that. Because I used to talk too much sometimes. And she would be like, you have 2 ears, so listen more and talk less. And I'd be like, okay.
Yeah.
And then I actually started doing it. And it's actually helpful, because it's like, if you talk more than you listen, then 9 out of 10 you don't know what you're talking about, because you ain't listening enough to know what's going on. So it actually helped me like listen to people more and like be more understanding of the people around me, because when you talk too fast or you act too fast, sometimes you don't know what you're saying, and it's like it could come off the same way. Then you gotta try to like fix clear yourself up and all that stuff. So it's just good to know what you're talking about the first time and actually listening to what people are saying, instead of trying to just be like, oh, well, I know what I'm talking about, like just not trying to listen to people, you know?
Of course.
So if someone is watching and is in need of immediate intervention and or your support, how can they reach you?
Emails probably. I know we were just talking about interpersonal
Take-
communication. I don't have the ability to physically talk to
everybody,
everyone.
yeah.
But, you know, emailing me, I will definitely get you in contact with the right folks. And that email is DrisdellS@metrofamily.org.
Okay. Drisdell dot
Yes.
metrofamilies.org. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, and I also want to talk to you guys about the drop-in center that's happening with Fatu Care. It's a MySpace drop-in. It's basically where you come in, students from ages 13 to 24 come in. You can help with homework, job readiness, essays, mock interviews, life skills, talking about budgeting, like anything that you guys need. You can go on trips. You can have like snacks if you just want to come in and talk, have someone to talk to. Fatu Care has a space for that, where youth, again, from ages 13 to 24 can come in from 3 to 6 p.m. and you can call them at 773-237-7164. No, 773-287-5821. I'm so sorry, y'all. 773-287-5821 and ask for Miss Princess, and they can give you more information on that. So if you are just tuning in, our guest tonight on the show is Steveon Drisdell, and we were discussing what is the state of violence and public safety in the city of Chicago. We would love to thank our viewers for watching. For additional information and our youth council, please contact us at 773-287-5821. Again, the number is 773-287-5821 and ask for Miss Princess. Thank you, and see you same time, same station next week. Bye.